Ever get that feeling? Like when something seems off,
Yeah.
Especially when you hear about these big scientific discoveries.
Yeah.
Well, today we are going deep, deep into the world of scientific fraud.
Oh, wow.
And it's not just some lab assistant messing up numbers. This is big-time deception with huge consequences, too.
I bet.
We're going to look at some really interesting cases, like, did you hear about that depression treatment study at Stanford?
Stanford.
Yeah, Stanford University.
I know, right.
And, oh, remember when everyone was talking about turmeric?
Oh, yeah, the curcumin craze.
We're going to break down how this fraud happens and why it's such a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
So first up, we're heading to, well, I guess we're already at Stanford.
Okay.
Specifically, the Stanford Healthcare Innovation Lab. Fancy.
You would think that a place like Stanford, I mean, they would be doing top-notch research, right?
Yeah, you would hope so. Well, things get a little, let's just say, interesting when some of their studies on depression treatment, especially this course created by, I think his name is Tony Robinson. Yeah, Tony Robinson.
You know him, motivational speaker, right?
That's him. So he's got this motivational course, and they wanted to study if it really worked for depression. Sounds good so far, right?
Yeah, sounds pretty standard.
Here's the catch. Robinson's company, the one making money off this course, they helped fund the research at Stanford.
Oh, okay. See, now that's a problem.
Yeah, and that's where things get a bit murky.
Because, well, you got to think, when someone's financial interest is connected to the research findings, it makes you question everything. Like, are the results really legit, or are they,
Skewed.
Exactly. And that's why transparency in research is so important. We need to know who's paying for the research to trust the results, right?
Absolutely, because, I mean, let's face it, we all have biases, right?
Every single one of us, even big shot researchers.
Yeah. And speaking of bias, let's move from psychology to something a little spicier. Remember that whole curcumin craze?
Oh, yeah. Everyone thought it was a miracle cure.
Right. Turmeric, this wonder spice, and curcumin, the magic ingredient. Well, for years, this one researcher, Dr. Bharat Agrawal, he was basically Mr. Curcumin.
Really?
Oh, yeah. His research was everywhere. Everyone was eating it up, literally. But then, plot twist, the story totally changed.
What happened?
So get this. A good chunk of Agrawal's research, the stuff that basically built the entire curcumin hype machine, had to be retracted.
Retracted? Why? What did he do?
Image manipulation.
Wow.
Yeah, basically someone's in the lab messing with images, visuals in the scientific papers to make the results look a certain way.
You're kidding me.
I wish I was. And it makes you wonder, right? Like, how does something like that even happen?
I mean, there's peer review, right? Editors. Someone should have caught that.
You'd think, right. But here's the even crazier part. Even with those retractions, those myths about curcumin, they're still out there. People still believe it.
Oh, I see what you mean about real-world consequences. Wow.
It really highlights how we all need to be careful about what we believe. Even if it sounds amazing, even if there's research, double check it. All right, ready for something a bit more complex?
Hit me.
Let's dive into the world of neuroscience, the brain.
Okay, I always found neuroscience fascinating.
It's incredible, but also so complicated, right? So there was this researcher, Eliza Mazer. She was doing big things, studying Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease.
Those are serious diseases affecting millions of people.
Exactly, which is why her case is especially troubling.
What happened?
She was accused of scientific misconduct.
Oh, no.
And not just in a few papers. We're talking over 130 publications.
130? Are you serious?
I'm afraid so. This wasn't just an academic issue. This was about real people waiting for a breakthrough in these devastating diseases.
Yeah, and that's heartbreaking because think about the setbacks. Imagine drug trials delayed or years of progress, all because of falsified data.
And those breakthroughs are so desperately needed, it makes you realize the immense responsibility researchers carry. Their work directly impacts lives. Okay, now you might be thinking, okay, but that's psychology, spices, and the brain. Subjective stuff. It can't happen in those really precise technical fields. But guess what? Even material science, the field of building blocks, has its share of scandals.
No way, really?
Oh yeah, get this. Thousands of images from electron microscopes, the tools they use to study stuff at the atomic level, totally fake.
Thousands.
Thousands, like someone's changing the blueprints of a skyscraper.
And hoping it doesn't fall down.
Exactly. The consequences could be disastrous.
You're right. I mean, those images are the foundation for creating new materials. Everything from our phones to medical devices relies on accurate data at that level.
Absolutely. Which means this type of fraud impacts a ridiculous number of industries. It could set us back decades.
Wow. It's a lot to process. We've gone from the mind to turmeric to atoms.
All in a day's work, eh? But seriously, it really makes you question everything, right? Like, what can we believe?
I think the takeaway here is not to blindly trust anything you read. We as consumers of information, we have to be skeptical, ask the tough questions.
Couldn't agree more.
And hopefully, by being more discerning, we can protect ourselves from all the misinformation out there.
Absolutely. Well said.
Thanks.
Well, that was pretty intense. We went from Stanford to turmeric to tiny atoms. What a journey.
A lot to think about, that's for sure.
And that's our deep dive for today. But the conversation doesn't have to end here. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah.
How do you stay informed and guard yourself against scientific fraud? Share your thoughts, experiences, and maybe even some skepticism in the comments.